Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into the episode today. I have the opportunity to sit down with a good buddy of mine, Marco's son. We met at NC State University through the Real Estate Club. And Marco's been a real estate agent full-time for almost a year now. In that period, he's been able to grow his social media following to over tens of thousands of followers and millions of views, and is now turning it into business. So we're super excited to dive into that today. Hope that you're able to take something away from that, and hope you enjoy the show. Marco, thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here and kind of share a little bit about what got me started in the industry, kind of how I've grown it to what it is today and where I hope to see it going in the near future.
Of course. So, man, well, yeah, starting with that, we'd love to kind of see where you did start. What were you doing before real estate? Yeah. What ultimately brought you in the business? Mm-hmm.
It was a interesting transition, I guess. I worked at a Sky Zone or a Defy trampoline park at the time where they had us focusing on membership sales. So I found out that I was fairly good at selling memberships, and you got like $4 commission off that. So I got to thinking, I don't want to be at a trampoline park for the rest of my life, but I still want to do something sales related, not the typical 9-to-5 type of cubicle job. Mm-hmm. So using that experience, I was like, well, let me see if I can get my real estate license, and instead of making $4 commission, make $4,000 or something of that nature where I can actually turn it into a real career. And that's sort of where that began. Took the licensing course sophomore year of college at NC State, just throughout the summer, self-paced online with Aceable Agent. So if you guys are looking to get started, Aceable, super good course online, has all the videos. That helped me to kind of do the study guides and make sure I passed on the first try. Mm-hmm. And since then, just kind of took it from there and started to get my feet wet in the real estate industry, trying to figure out the ropes and learn the best way to go about it as a younger agent.
Awesome. And just that transition from, Sky Zone checks to, finding something bigger commission-wise.
Of course.
Why did you pick real estate? There's a lot of other sales jobs out there.
Of course. I felt like real estate, there's the freedom to brand yourself. Obviously, there's plenty of sales job. You could do door-to-door solar or window cleaning like you see some people do. But for real estate, you kind of build your own brand. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that stood out to me. I wanted to create a name for myself and help build it that way. And it's super... I guess it is high friction to get started. The expenses are high when it comes to getting the licensing course, all that upfront fees for the MLS dues. But once you get the ball rolling, there's a lot of potential to grow in that industry without having to sell a job, go do like a couple hours worth of work on some windows and stuff like that. So I just felt like that was the industry I wanted to be in, where it's a good kind of one-man show and you can expand it beyond that.
Yeah, and in the real estate industry, obviously you could go, wash windows and do door-to-door tomorrow. Sure. There's so many guidelines and, courses and exams you have to pass. Mm-hmm. For people looking to get into it, how time consuming is that? Mm. How difficult is it to ultimately get your license?
Yeah. It's initially there's a 75-hour pre-licensing course which you take, then you have to pass the course exam. Once you get that, you get a certificate, then you got to pass the state exam. And that's like, all right, you got all the exams done and you think you're done. And then there's a 90-hour post-licensing. So give or take, you can probably spend a year kind of going through all that until you're like a fully licensed broker. You can be a provisional broker after just passing that first course, but within 18 months after getting that initial license, you have to pass the post-licensing course. So all of that, it's like $600 for the first course, $2 to $3 for the second one, and then once you start getting affiliated with the brokerages, you do have to have some type of savings. So like I started as a part-time agent, mm-hmm. still worked at Sky Zone, refereed soccer games on the side, so you had that extra income because it's not quick money by any means. A lot of people I feel like get into the real estate industry and are thinking, okay, I'm going to make a bag like this month, and that's not the case, especially being younger, getting started. You don't have that sphere of influence, at least at the age that I started. My friends weren't out there buying houses. It was always people probably double or triple my age, and kind of connecting with those is a lot harder mm-hmm. when they don't see you on their level, so you got to figure out a way to make that stand out.
Yeah, and going off of that, it sounds like it is hard to break into. Mm-hmm. Were there any fears or doubt that you had going into it? And like family members and friends your age, were they saying anything like kind of trying to drive you away from that at the time?
I would definitely say it was a decision I made on my own to get into it. My parents were very traditional, like mm-hmm. go to school, get a job, do that, because that's what they did growing up, and they saw that it was a really risky move to kind of start something on your own. And the failure rate in the real estate industry, like you might know, is very high. I think within the first 2 years, it's 80% or 75% of agents fail. And then within 5 years, it's close to 90. So it's really hard to kind of be one of those top 10% of agents that actually stay through it. But if you can stay consistent, that's sort of how you build your brand and are able to actually run a successful business. But I would say my biggest fear is just putting all this upfront investment, time, and then just watching it go down the drain. So I knew that an option for me wasn't to fail.
Yeah.
Like that just wasn't something that I wanted to do. So just staying consistent, even though sometimes you don't close a lot of deals. That was the perk of starting young. I didn't have a whole bunch of responsibilities and commitments, no family, no kids. I could take those risks, and that's sort of what I recommend people in my shoes or that are in college that think about getting into it. It's a good time to do it before it's too late, and then you don't have that time to actually allocate towards building what you want to build.
Hey all, real quick, this video is sponsored by myself and Lower Mortgage. Lower Mortgage is one of the fastest growing mortgage companies here in the United States, and I myself am one of the fastest growing mortgage lenders here in the Triangle. If you have any questions about interest rates or you're looking to buy a house, feel free to reach out to me here. We'll be more than happy to help. If you are a real estate agent who'd like to connect and work together, we'll be more than happy to do that as well. Feel free to reach out to me too. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, start now is kind of the best time to start, as people
Exactly.
say.
Mm-hmm.
And two, based off what you said, I mean, coming into this, being younger in the industry, not having the connections, I think that's something that a lot of people are kind of afraid of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, you know, there's, you know, real estate agents who've been in the game for 30 years. You know, same with, you know, mortgage brokers who've been in for so long. You know, I guess, what do you think makes people, or let me rephrase that.
Yeah.
Why do you think people are afraid of that? And then, like, what do you do to overcome it?
I mean, I feel like it's just an experience thing. Like they don't feel like they have the experience. And quite frankly, when I sold my first house, I didn't have the experience either. But it's more so making a personal connection with the people that you're working with. And they see that over anything else. You could be in the industry for 20 years. But if you don't actually have a connection and build trust with them, they're not going to want to do business with you. So I think being personable and knowing your stuff, especially. So like, even though you might not have closed dozens of deals or hundreds like some agents have, if you can explain the process and show that you're confident with helping the client, then that's a good way to overcome that initial kind of barrier to building your first few sales.
Yeah, of course. And I think another thing that I've kind of realized too is, you know, I've called real estate agents and mortgage lenders within the past couple weeks, and it's astonishing how many people have that kind of automated, you know, what is it, the call?
Oh, the screening?
Call screening.
I hate that.
Yeah, like what's your name and why are you calling?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know, this person is a successful real estate agent. Or, you know, isn't the whole business like answering your phone and
100%.
like being available? And I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
what younger people don't realize too, is they have such a benefit. You know, if you're starting your business, you're in growth mode.
100%.
You're at it every single day.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
answering the phone whenever it comes in.
Exactly.
I mean, you're going to eventually outbeat these people that aren't.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's
the goal. And funny you mentioned that. I actually got a call yesterday, and as a realtor, you get a lot of spam calls. So that's probably one of the reasons people have that, because it's
Yeah.
like 3 calls a day, and you see spam risk written under the number. And I'm like, all right, do I answer this? Do I not answer
Yeah.
it? Sometimes I answer it, and I know it's already going to be just like a fake robot on the other line. But the other day, 2 days ago, actually, I answered the call, and it's some guy from Palm Springs, Florida, who has like 2 houses around the world, I guess, and he's looking to move to Cary, Green Level School District, and we're actually touring a few properties this weekend, hopefully finding him a rental first so he can learn the area and then help him purchase a house. So that's another way that I got started, was helping people with rentals initially, because it's very low barrier. You don't need to have anything crazy when it comes to experience, and then hopefully those people will turn into actual people that want to stay long term,
Yeah.
buy or sell a house down the road.
Interesting.
So,
That's a neat way to get into it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I guess going on that, I mean, will you walk us through kind of your first deal and how you got it, what that looked like, and I guess
100%.
how long it took to you to actually build up and get to that point?
My first deal was actually a rental, so that's why
Yeah.
I mentioned that. There's so many Facebook groups. I'm sure whatever state you're in, but North Carolina has a lot of like moving to North Carolina, homes for sale, stuff like that. So I was looking through there, and there's always people relocating. So this ended up being a couple from California that was asking for referrals or someone that could help with the rental.
Yep.
And it's kind of hard to meet people on there because there's so many agents in those groups that just bombard people with messages. I just messaged them, and outside of the 5 other agents that did, they ended up reaching out to me because I didn't want to hop on a call right away, and they seemed like it was very low friction, whereas I guess the other agents were really pushing to like, hey, let's hop on a call, let's do this, and that is important to kind of build that connection. But I just messaged them saying, hey, would love to help you, grew up in the area, and one thing led to another. They moved from California, helped them find a rental. A year later, they knew what areas they wanted to be in, and they bought a house.
Really?
So, yeah.
And was this during school?
It
You're
was,
doing
yeah,
this?
yeah. So I closed 3 deals throughout college.
Wow, that's incredible.
So nothing crazy, but
Yeah.
as a college student, it's definitely good to learn the ropes. And that's one thing I found super helpful is with the time it takes to actually get started. By doing that while I was still in school, taking a full-time schedule of classes, I did open houses on the weekends, things of that nature. But I wasn't restricted to like post-grad having to worry about taking a year-long extra kind of semester, I guess you could say, to get my real estate license.
Yeah.
I could just hit the ground running, and that's sort of what I'm doing now without having that limiting factor in terms of timeline and having to get all that stuff done ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome having some experience really
Yeah.
before you break the ground. But I can still imagine, once you graduate, especially with real estate agency, I mean,
Yeah.
there's not really a structure. Especially with what you're doing now, like how did you fill your time? What did your day-to-day look like? And did you have mentors that were kind of helping you, tell you what to do, or did you have to come up with it on your own?
Yeah. With the firm I joined, which there's so many, you got EXP, Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker. I knew someone within EXP that's been doing it for, I think, a decade now, maybe a little longer, and she was my certified mentor, as they call it at EXP.
Yep.
So someone that could help really, guide you through any type of issues that come up during a transaction. So that was how I got started. And the benefit of that was she had listings. I was able to utilize those listings, do open houses, and those are usually like the hottest leads. If people are actually coming into an open house, maybe they're unrepresented, and if you're the one there and you make that connection, like I mentioned earlier, then you can turn those into your clients. So that's how I ended up closing the second 2 deals throughout college, was just through open houses.
Really?
And yeah, funny story. The third one, it was a couple that came into an open house I was doing, and they had accents. I could hear, so I asked, I was like, hey, where are you guys from? And the lady said she was from Central Europe, and my family's from Slovakia, which is in Central Europe. So I was like, okay, well, she's being a little secretive, but I asked her, like, where specifically? She said Slovakia. So then I started talking to her in Slovak, and I asked the guy something in Slovak, but he wasn't from there. He was actually from Mexico, and I was minoring in Spanish. So I'm here at my open house, speaking Slovak to her, speaking Spanish to him, and that's kind of how we built that connection, because I feel like they probably thought I was an alien. Like, how is this guy speaking like 3 different tongues right now? But it ended up working out, and they bought a house like a year later or so with a new construction company, so it got built from the ground up.
Man, that's awesome. Well,
Yeah,
shout
yeah,
out to your Spanish teacher and
Oh
where you
yeah,
came from, man.
super helpful for sure.
I got to use what you have.
Exactly.
And also, I mean, especially with real estate and being an agent, I mean, it's very entrepreneurial.
For sure.
There's no, it's all commission.
Yeah.
And you're not getting paid. And were there times you ever felt like quitting or getting out and finding something that was more stable for you?
Yes and no. I feel like because I had those part-time jobs, I had income to kind of sustain my day-to-day life and whatnot. So I definitely knew if it wasn't this, it was going to be something else entrepreneurial, but this seemed like the easiest way to get into it. And I had another kind of business venture on the back end, which you knew about, the Nature's Throne. But
It's my favorite.
yes, 100%. If you haven't heard of the Nature's Throne, go check it out. But that's sort of, I guess, what was the question again?
just about like, quitting or
Okay.
kind of thoughts about it being commission only.
Yeah. That's honestly what I liked about it, was
Yeah.
the fact that it was commission-based. Because if you go out and get a job out of college, you're getting $60,000, $70,000 a year, and that's all you're making. But in real estate, you can kind of guide where you want your income potential to be, and the harder you work, the more you can make. So you have that flexibility of not only income, but also time. If you have to, down the road, pick kids up from school or go somewhere, there's not like set hours you have to be at the office. You kind of build your own schedule, which is, I guess, a blessing and a curse in the same time. Sometimes people need that accountability, which is why there are teams, I guess, in the real estate world where you can join. They kind of guide you through that. It gives you that structure. But for me, I'm a solo agent.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of create that structure on my own. But I never really thought about quitting. I just knew there was definitely times where it was difficult. But staying consistent, I think, is what pushed me through. Like last year, I didn't close any deals. So full transparency, just like focused on school. And then after graduating, I was like, okay, let me double down on the content creation side of things. And that's where obviously it takes a little bit to build that brand up through content and accumulate trust within people that see you online. But now that I've been doing that for almost 9 months consistently, I started posting previously, but it was very kind of sporadic. It's definitely helped. And I've seen a huge shift from people like reaching out through that and making that connection as if they already knew me, without being one of those agents that cold calls and gets hung up on, because people get calls like that all the time.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to be blending in with the crowd, I guess.
Yeah, and I feel like you're kind of downplaying it a little bit. I mean, you've grown a massive audience on social media over the past year, which takes a lot of realtors, maybe their whole career to even get halfway there. I mean, will you walk us through? I mean, why did you choose to double down on that? What were some struggles you had getting into it, and ultimately, how did you overcome it and become consistent and become, kind of the presence that you are today?
Yeah. Well, when I first started posting, it was very, I guess, like I said, sporadic. Like, it wasn't any structure to it. It was me in like a t-shirt and a baseball cap. Like, it was like, if you scroll to my very first post, it is not what it is right now, but I guess that's sort of what helps. Like, if you're not cringing at the first post that you put out, that means you're not getting better. And as I kind of kept doing it, I learned, okay, this is what works. This is what doesn't. People interact with this type of post more. And I started implementing a system to actually turn whatever views I got into real conversations. And that's sort of when it clicked, because before it was just posting and hoping someone would DM you, which I found wasn't very likely, because people tend to stick to themselves, don't always want to be the first to reach out. So what I started doing was using, it's called Stand Store. It's similar to ManyChat, if you guys are familiar. And that's sort of like that Instagram automation where if you see a post and it's like comment so-and-so, it sends them a message in their DM. And I started doing that. Someone put me onto it. And as the first week, I started posting about a guide that I put together. And I had like 30 people sign up from one video that went fairly viral about the downtown Cary Park. And that's when I was like, okay, now I have 30 people's phone numbers. They selected possibly interested in moving within, 3 to 6 months. There was like a little questionnaire you could fill out. And through that, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, because it's people coming to me, not me having to chase them. And I created a few other lead magnets, I guess you can call them. So like the guide was one of them, kind of targeting relocation clients. I also have one, if people comment luxury, it sends them a list of all the higher end homes around Raleigh. And that's targeting a lot of those like higher end buyers, maybe people that want to build custom homes, things of that nature. So whatever content you post, try to guide people towards something that can help them out. And then that's how you build those connections and actually get a phone number or an email, and then you can reach out and have a more personal conversation.
Yeah, and I remember you were saying, you can post a viral video on TikTok, but there's really no way to convert that into clients and leads. So you've kind of found that Instagram and maybe Facebook are the best ways to actually convert it?
Correct. For me, Instagram for sure. I still post on TikTok, and that's where I've had people like DM me and whatnot, but having that system implemented isn't as easy on TikTok unless you switch like a business profile, and then all the audios get switched to like the very basic corporate audios. And I was like, that's kind of, people don't go to TikTok to see that. So I was like, I'll just see if people reach out from there, just have it as like a backup.
Yeah, and kind of taking it back to, a couple minutes ago when you were talking about the content and ultimately starting to blow up. I mean, you've gotten videos with, millions and millions of views. What type of content have you found that actually performs best? And, when you find that kind of content, because there's so much content going on in real estate, and everyone wants to do it. And I think people are scared to get started. You've passed that, and you've gotten to the point where you're continuing to grow it. When you find that video that blows up, how do you replicate that and keep doing it over and over?
Yeah, I kind of divide it into 3 pillars. And here's the thing I learned. It's like the video that blows up, it really depends on what your end goal is, because you could have a viral video, but it doesn't actually convert into clients. But you could have a video that gets maybe 1,000 views or 2,000 views, and those are the actual people that reach out from that video. So that happened to me previously, where it's not always the ones that blow up in terms of the algorithm and all that stuff. But sort of the way I've divided my content is into what I call high effort content, low effort content, and no effort content. And
I like that.
Yeah, no, I liked it too. I came up with it myself.
Yeah, trademark that. Right?
Exactly. But kind of how I structure it is with the high effort content, that's me physically going out, leaving my house, maybe driving to a park, showcasing it, walking around, or even a house somewhere. So I'm in there going into the house, getting clips, flying the drone, then coming back, doing a voiceover. So it's like driving there. That's high effort. And then low effort is some of like the breaking news videos. So I try to cover.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah. Okay. See, a lot of people like those, and those what I found that get seen the most, because it's super local, so people share it within like their community and whatnot. But I don't know if those actually convert into clients, but I guess having that as part of the strategy helps build awareness around your brand, and it targets the areas that you're trying to focus on.
Oh, that's genius for sure.
So those ones tend to perform the best, don't always convert the best, but that's kind of where you get the followers to hopefully then see other videos. But that would be low effort. Like I'm in my house, maybe on my back porch, I cover a story, add some clips on it, and then post it. And then the no effort content, which sometimes these do the best too, is literally just like a B-roll clip of a house or something like that. And you put text, POV, you just moved into your dream home in Cary, North Carolina, add like a nice sound over it, and then have a keyword like comment Cary to get my full list of houses in Cary or something like that. And sometimes those pop off and it takes maybe 30 seconds to post. So it really kind of divides it into those where I can, if I can't go out and film, I know for sure I have some clip in my phone that I can easily post something, so I can still post at least once a day, if not twice, has sort of been my target.
Yeah, I remember I saw one recently you did of, kind of just, it looked like you were just driving in the car and it was a bunch of big homes kind of spaced out, and you said something about, having this much space in between your hair, something that kind of evoked emotion out of people.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And it blows up, and then you have a, kind of guide below. I mean, that's genius, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if someone were to start today from zero, $0, 0 followers, what advice, what would you tell them to do? How would you tell them to get started? Would you say go all in on social media, let the business come to you? Would you do what you did and start going to open houses and try to get your first couple deals while building social media? What would be your advice to someone like that?
Yeah. I guess everyone's advice would be different, right? It depends on the timeline. Social media is a very long-term game. So if you have the ability to wait and kind of build that brand, then definitely focus on that. Otherwise, people do a lot of the cold calling, door knocking, where you can physically right then and there get in front of someone that might be looking to buy. That's sort of why I did the open houses. So if you can go find an open house that your brokerage has, or a listing that you can host an open house for, while you're there, create content. So it's kind of like you're there to talk to people, but you also have that ability to make content on social media, and it helps build your brand on both sides of the spectrum, I guess. In case someone walks in that wants to buy the house, boom, you're there to have that conversation. Or if you post about the house and you do that consistently, maybe once or twice a week at open houses every weekend, then you're going to build up a portfolio showcasing houses, and people will see you as kind of the local guy, depending on how you structure it.
Yeah, so why not mix both together?
Exactly.
That's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I wanted to ask too, with the social media and, you growing it to where it is, was this all just kind of like a guessing game for you? Did you have a mentor? Did you have a coach that was walking you through it? Were you following anyone else online and, maybe trying to get advice and see what they were posting that was working out? How did you put all that together?
I guess the social media was kind of just go with the flow, see what works. My mentor, with someone that's been in the industry for a very long time, they tend to do their ways very traditionally, in terms of marketing. They send out postcards, things of that nature, which obviously works because they're very successful, and that's what a lot of agents do. But not a lot of them focus on the social media, and the ones that do actually attract the right clientele. So you probably saw the speed tour guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Trent Miller?
Yeah.
He's awesome, dude.
So I've seen his videos. I was like, all right, this guy's popping off. That's kind of like the style that I was thinking of going, but I also want to create a style of my own. Obviously, you don't want to copy someone, be authentic to yourself. So being able to figure out what works for you, it's not going to be the same as everyone else. But there are a lot of kind of content producing realtors, or even content realtor coaches that you can follow, and they kind of give you a guideline. A lot of people sleep on stories. Story posts, that's where you have the conversations. If you're actually putting out interactive stories, kind of polls to kind of show people that you're in their market, if they're interested in potentially buying or selling in the next year or two, they can vote whatever your poll may be. And that's kind of like them raising their hand saying, hey, I might be looking at doing something. So instead of them giving you a call, you now know who's voting, that you can then send a DM, a DM to, I guess, reach out. And it's not technically, I guess, a cold DM because they know who you are. So that's similar to what I do, is when someone signs up, I have their phone number, I give them a call, and technically I am calling them out of the blue, but they already know who I am. And I'm like, hey, I believe you recently came across one of my Instagram videos showcasing some higher end homes around Raleigh. Just wanted to give you a call. And they're like, oh yeah, I actually did. So instead of them hanging up on you, they want to actually have that conversation.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what's worked for me and what I would recommend for people down the road, but it just comes down to finding what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I do think the stories are good. I mean, I love kind of getting interactive with, you'll post some polls about, whether it's going to snow or not. I think it's always fun.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good way to showcase, actually what you're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And I mean, that definitely helps. What does your business look like today? I mean, have you kind of taken the foot off the pedal in the form of, going out and meeting new people? Are you kind of just mainly focused on your content and bringing business into you? I mean, what is your business structure now?
Yeah. I mean, you're always meeting new people, no matter where it may be, whether it's through social media. I still do open houses, obviously. If I have any listings, there's people that come in through there. But recently, I found that the type of content I post, or the type of clients I attract, and I want to focus on some of the higher end homes. You know, there's a lot of unique custom builders around Raleigh. So that's kind of the partnerships that I've built with those builders to showcase their properties. And I found that attracts the clientele that is looking to build or buy those types of homes. So currently we're working on a few deals in the like the multi-millions, a new neighborhood that's custom built, kind of a pre-sale. So it's a lot of moving parts that comes to that, and just me having the opportunity to sit there and be a part of that has been huge, and that's all through social media. But at the same time, still being able to do open houses and meet people. So no matter where it may be, like even at a coffee shop, I'll be talking to someone, and next thing you know, we're talking about real estate. So the name of the game is really how many conversations you can have and the people you know. It's very relationship focused. So,
yeah, and in the videos that you are doing with like the new construction properties, I mean, how do you get in with the builders there? Do you just reach out to them? Are they willing to have you come on and make videos because you have that presence online?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of both. I mean, a lot of the builders that are building these newer houses, they want them to sell and they don't care who markets them. Sometimes you got to reach out to the agent that's listing it, obviously, but they're fairly flexible to have people come in, show some content as long as you tag them. So then there's so many new ones being built, especially like North Raleigh, North Hills area, even now down in Apex and Cary, to where there's an abundance of new properties. So a lot of the times builders are the ones to target just because they have so much inventory that they want to sell. It's not like you're reaching out to a home that's 10 years old and it has a seller and people living there. Those ones are a little less flexible because they got all their belongings. So that's what I found is kind of newer construction, more accessibility, and that's kind of where people are leaning towards nowadays. They're like, yeah, they want a new home. They want something fresh, something that they don't have to worry about doing major repairs down the road.
What about you? Do you like the new home style or the old school?
I do. I mean, I'm a very modern guy.
Yeah.
I like the modern kind of flat roof type of style, and there's not a ton of that in Raleigh, but there is one neighborhood kind of further out North Raleigh that's all like California style houses, all glass windows, like 9-car garages underground. That's a pretty sweet spot to be. And that would be like the dream. What'd you say?
You want to sell me one of those?
I mean, hey, if you're looking.
Maybe not quite yet. But man, I think that's all great. I'd love to kind of go back and give some advice to some people that are watching and, again, are thinking about getting started into becoming a real estate agent and posting content. I mean, what's like the mindset that you need to get into this? I know you talked about, I think a lot of people come from a place of fear. It is commission only. What if it doesn't work out? I think you did it perfectly by having some active income, being able to sustain yourself while getting into it.
Yeah.
Is that, what kind of mindset do you have to have? Is it, not just balls to the wall, do or die, I'm only going to do this. Is it strategic?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some strategy behind it because obviously you got to sustain yourself. So knowing what your risk threshold is, I guess, is very important. How you want to go about building your business, and if this is something you want to do long term, obviously. I mean, whenever I was getting started, I knew that I wanted to grow into this. I just knew that I couldn't jump into it all the way just because that income wasn't quite there when I was getting started. So, I mean, my advice is really just be consistent, know what you want to do, focus on that. The people that do it long term and are actually like doing it day to day are the ones that are going to win in the end. And don't compare yourself to people that have been doing it for many years and you see like, oh, they're closing so many deals. Why am I not? Because if you're doing this fresh out of college, the average age of an agent is probably like mid 40s, probably later than that sometimes. I don't even know. But I can assure you it's probably not 20 years old. So being already in the industry at this age, you're getting a head start. And if you just stick with it, by the time you're 25, 30, you're probably going to be crushing it compared to what these other agents are that aren't utilizing these more modern strategies.
Yeah, so people need to stop comparing themselves and just,
Yeah, it's the killer of happiness. You're like, I just did this. And then you see someone else and they're like, they just did this, this, and this. It's like you just got to be happy for what you're accomplishing, and everyone's on their own timeline. Yeah.
Is there any other thing that you think people our age should stop doing if they want to, kind of pursue this career?
Yeah, I feel like this is something I need to work on. It's like the doom scroll.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be posting, and then by the time I'm done posting my video, next thing you know, I'm looking at somebody else's video. Because that's kind of the downside of trying to utilize social media for business. Sometimes you get caught in the social media trap as well.
I'll find myself kind of sitting on my couch for 45 minutes there, and it's like, oh no, I'm learning how to post and seeing what's going viral.
Exactly.
Then I look at my account and I posted one video in the past 2 weeks, and it's like, all right, well maybe I just need to start making content, doing what you've done, and kind of figure out what works and what doesn't, and quit getting so in my head about it.
Yeah. I find that a lot of people have that like analysis paralysis where they're like, oh, this doesn't look good. Like, how do I look from this angle? Literally nobody cares but you, so just post and see what happens. That's kind of my main piece of advice. And I've worked with a lot of other agents, so as part of doing this kind of drone videography, social media stuff, another sort of side income that I found myself doing was people, specifically real estate agents, started reaching out to me from my videos and saying, hey, can we pay you to do something similar for our house? Or if you put like a script together, could you do a video for me for my listing? So like, okay, now I'm creating my own brand, but I'm also having a side income to kind of sustain myself while doing similar things for other agents. And that's definitely helps kind of balance both.
Yeah.
I can still do what I'm doing, make some extra money, and then pursue kind of clients and growing my business down the road.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that I think it's funny that you said, what should people our age stop doing is doom scrolling. I mean, like that really is, I feel like, the number one thing
100%.
that is killing success and for people our age.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said,
agree.
like I had to delete Instagram this week because I realized I really needed to focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
if I had Instagram, I'd go sit on the toilet and not get up for
Just sit
30
there
minutes.
for like an hour.
Yeah, 5 minutes turns into 30.
How have you felt since deleting it? You feel fresh?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, every once in a while, I find myself on YouTube Shorts, and I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you're more present in the moment. You're actually focusing on what you need to do.
Yeah.
You're going above and beyond. And maybe you're doing the dishes a day early, and you're just actually being productive. And I mean, genuinely, it probably takes up 6 hours of the average person our age's day.
Yeah. I don't even want to check my screen time, to be quite honest with you. I know I've been.
But you're just studying when you're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. It's a mix of both. Sometimes you get lost in the trap.
You got an excuse.
Yeah.
But man, I'd love to do a couple speed round kind of questions and answers real quick.
Okay.
But we can get a couple pressing topics and points.
For sure.
See your perspective on these.
Okay.
So first and foremost, for a new real estate agent, what's the best way to get your first deal?
First deal, probably open houses or cold calling. I've never personally done cold calling, but I've seen success from a bunch of other agents. That's the first one. But obviously, you don't just want to go based on one deal. You want to grow your brand long term. That's where I focus on social media, and I think that's the way people should do it now. If you're not posting, people aren't finding you, and then you're just not going to build the business that you want to build down the road.
Yeah, and I remember I sent you that reel a while ago. There's that guy online who did 30 open houses in 30 days.
Yeah.
Ended up getting 2 or 3 clients from
Yeah.
it. And then he did 100 open houses in 100 days and got somewhere between 12 to 15 from it.
That's the way to do it. I mean, those are the hottest leads. If you can be in a house that's for sale and someone walks in, they're clearly looking at buying a house, whether or not it's that one. You just got to know what you're saying, make a connection with them, and hopefully, if they're not working with someone, they'll end up working with you and say, hey, you just got to be a source of information and provide value at those open houses, and that's how you can convert hopefully fairly quick and someone that's looking at moving pretty soon rather than waiting 6 to 12 months. They're like, okay, if they're at an open house now, 1 to 3 months, that's their timeline. Boom, you closed your first deal.
Yeah, so hit those open houses and make
100%.
content while you're there.
Yeah.
All right, second question. What is the biggest mistake that new real estate agents make?
That's a good one. I feel like lack of structure. And this was a mistake I made personally, right? Like I didn't know exactly what I was doing. There's no one telling you what to do unless you're part of a team, and that kind of guides you through that. But just the lack of being like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm doing now. It's kind of all over the place. So figuring out how you want to structure your day. Like for me, now that I've figured out what I want to do and what my main lead source is, I structure it, obviously, breakfast, reply to any emails that are important in the morning, and then focus on the content for that day, how I want to attract new clients, and then turn those into real conversations. Because ideally, you want to have like 5 to 10 conversations a day if you want to be successful in this industry, just knowing who you want to talk to and finding new people, whether it's at a coffee shop or at the open houses, or if someone reaches out through Instagram or even some of your neighbors, you can just go around, knock on doors. That's kind of what people aren't doing getting started because they don't know that's what to do when you get started. So that's kind of what I would recommend for sure.
Yeah. And also, if you had to restart today with 0 followers on Instagram, knowing what you know, how long would it take you to get back to where you are today?
I don't know how long it would take, but I would definitely focus on hyper-local content. That's what I found really works, is like if there's a new coffee shop opening or a park that you want to showcase, if you post about that, people that are either looking that up, like right now there's a new project called Viridia coming up in Apex. I posted a few videos on that, and now when you look it up on Google, you'll see like 2 of my Instagram videos in like the top search on the side. So doing that type of stuff, which is what people want to learn about, that's how you attract that local following, and combining that with real estate content, maybe house tours in those areas. This is what $500,000 gets you in Apex, North Carolina or Cary, North Carolina. That's really how I would get started because it shoots your out. I guess for me, I found the most engagement with that hyper local kind of breaking news content. So using that early on to build a following and then branching out to other pieces of content from that kind of attract your ideal audience.
Perfect. And, kind of besides, real estate as a whole, content, going to open houses and everything, what's one habit or what one mindset change that really made you successful?
Yeah. I do like going to the gym. I feel like you got to take care of yourself to take care of others.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something important. But really, it's just consistency, like not looking at a video and seeing that it flopped and then just giving up.
Yep.
Right? Because the first 100 videos probably aren't going to do good. But once you post that 101st video, that one might take off and your whole business changes. So that's kind of what happened to me as someone that was posting for 2 to 3 years throughout college, no structure, to to put it into perspective, when I graduated, I had like 250 something followers on Instagram, and now I have almost 11,000 through there, and that's not including like Facebook and TikTok.
Yep.
So just by implementing that and staying consistent, not looking at, okay, this video got 1,000 views, this one got 2,000, being able to look past it and be like, all right, on to the next. That's definitely something I would recommend that would help people in the long term.
Yeah, awesome. And Marco, is there anything else that you kind of want to bring up today that's on your mind that you'd want to share with people who are interested in getting into the business?
Man, that's a good question.
The mind of Marco.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, really just be yourself.
Yeah.
Real estate is such a relationship-based business where if you try to be someone you're not, it's going to backfire on you. So whether it's in certain videos or in person, just do what you do, and those are the type of people that you'll meet, someone that actually wants to work with you. You're not going to be for everybody, and don't try to appeal to everyone. That's kind of why I mentioned focusing on the ideal client, whether you want to help first-time home buyers or people looking at buying new construction or just in a certain geographical area. Focus on that, and that'll be like your niche. And if you can get really good at one thing, that'll skyrocket you more than spreading yourself too thin across various things. So like back to the social media, instead of doing postcards, cold calling, door knocking, all of this, I just focused on one thing and grew that instead of kind of slowly growing everything all at once.
There you go. The man himself. Well, Marco, where can people find you if they want to buy a house?
Yeah. If you're interested, you can check me out on Instagram at Marco Sun Real Estate, or on TikTok, same, Marco Sun Real Estate with a K, Marko. Everyone spells it with a C, so you got to get that right.
Awesome, and I will link those social medias in the description of this video. But Marco, really appreciate you coming on today, bro, and sharing the wealth of knowledge you have.
No, thanks for having me. This was awesome. Appreciate it. Let's go. First podcast.